Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to repair a chainsaw that leaks bar oil excessively. And today I'll be showing you how to do this repair on a Stihl MS211 chainsaw. As you can see here, if I grab the saw, there is oil underneath. It leaks continually. Now often on Stihl chainsaws with this new style of cap here, simply replacing the cap will solve the problem. If it doesn't solve the problem when you replace the cap, you might want to look at other options like the oil line that goes from the oil tank to the oil pump. And this is exactly what's happening on this chainsaw here. The oil is leaking from the oil line that goes from the oil tank to the oil pump. And if I run my finger here, it's full of bar oil. And if you take a close look here, this is where the oil line fits into the oil tank. There's oil all around it. That's exactly where it's leaking. And I put this upside down like this, cleaned up around the area of the oil line. And you can see some fresh oil leaking all over from where the oil line goes into the oil tank. It's a fitted oil line, so it does have a grommet built into the line that goes into the tank. And that's exactly where it's leaking. And you can see it's quite an excessive amount of oil. So to do this repair today, I'm going to replace the oil line. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's got fitted grommets built into the oil line. And the part number for this oil line is 1139-647-4000. And I recommend using only OEM Stihl oil lines for this repair. Now I've got this upside down like this just to make it easier to work on. Now before you start this procedure, if your oil tank is full of oil, you should empty it because the oil may come out of the oil line hole. I don't think I've got too much oil left in my tank, so I'm just going to leave it. Hopefully when I remove the oil line, not too much oil comes out. And it's not as bad as it looks to replace the oil line in the saw. First, I'm just going to remove the screw over here and the screw right here. It's going to loosen the engine mounts on the handlebars. And you'll need a T27 torque screwdriver. Now you can pop these buffers out of their places. And this one here, you can just pop it up. And I'm just going to pry the handlebar. I'm going to put a tool in here just to stop the handlebar from moving. And now I have good access to remove and reinstall the new oil line right here. And again, you can see some bar oil right beside where the grommet hooks into the oil tank. So now to remove the oil line, I'm going to start over here by the oil tank. I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers and just pull. And you're going to have the oil filter over here, so you're going to save this part. And now just pull on the line from this end, and that's all there is to removing the oil line. Now just remove the oil filter. Now even though this line here is not punctured, what I think is happening is the rubber's getting harder and it's not doing a good seal between the oil tank and the oil line. I can tell that the new line is a lot softer, so it should have a much better seal where it connects. Now at this point you need to reinstall the oil filter on the line. And now what you want to do is install the oil line and the oil filter right through the hole here on the oil tank. Now try to push in the grommet as far into the hole with your fingers as you can. Now you might need some kind of screwdriver to do this, but be extremely cautious. Make sure you don't damage the grommet with the screwdriver. Now I'm just going to line up the line. What you want is the flat part of the grommet to face downwards. And now what you want to do is install this end of the line in this hole here. And what I'm using here is a T27 torque screwdriver. I'm just using something flat and dull. And just push straight down. And once it's in, push on it again with your fingers just to make sure it's absolutely in there. You can even grab the line with your finger and just pull a bit to make sure. And it's in there really good at this point. So at this point here, I'm going to remove the tool that was holding the handlebars ajar. Line up the two mounts on the chainsaw. And now reinstall the Torx T27 screws. And reinstall this one over here as well. Now you don't need to tighten these up too much. Just remember it's screwing into plastic, so be careful. Now you can wipe this off from any oil. So now I've got it filled with oil. I'm going to put it on this cardboard, check it back tomorrow to make sure it's not leaking. Alright, so I've had it here for a day sitting on this cardboard, which was clean when I put it on. And I'm going to lift the saw to see if it's been leaking or not. And it hasn't, which is very good. Sometimes it's really hard to isolate bar oil leaks on chainsaws. So I'm really glad when I can isolate the leak and actually fix it by replacing the oil line. Now, because these lines have a tendency to dry up over time, it's possible that you may have to replace this oil line every few years or so if you notice the oil is leaking excessively. And again, if I look where the oil line is installed here, I can see that it's nice and dry. Previously in the video, you saw a bunch of oil coming from the oil line in this area here. And now it's been sitting for quite a while like this, and I do not see any bar oil leaking. Now you can't always fix an oil leak just by replacing the oil line like I did today. On some saws you're going to have to replace the oil pump or some seals around it. And like I mentioned earlier, if you do have the oil caps like this, you might want to check to make sure they're not leaking as well. So thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And have yourselves a great day.